This is a video demonstrating one out of 10 built-in accessibility features developed in an EU-funded research project called We4Authors Cluster. In this project, the accessibility expert company Funka has joined forces with market-leading authoring tools to investigate how authoring tools can best support web authors in creating accessible content by default. In this video, we will present a solution to ensure that images are accessible to visually impaired users who are using screen readers. We will demonstrate the problem from the perspective of the end user, the challenge from the perspective of the web author, the solution recommended by the consortium behind the project, the result for the end user, and examples of code. The video is accompanied by a written technical specification to support implementation in any authoring tool. We hope this feature will inspire you to make the world more inclusive.
Hi, my name is Joachim, and like many other users, I use a screen reader to read the content. In my case, it's because I'm blind, but that's just one reason to use a text-to-speech solution. Now I would like to show you what happens when I encounter images on a web page. To make it possible for you to understand what's happening, take a look at my screen. Top left of my screen, there you will find a small window showing you what's written on my Braille display. And you can also take a look at the yellow square on my screen so you can see what my screen reader does. Let's take a look.
Heading Level 1 Photos that Changed the World.
Photos that changed the world. Oh, what can they be?
Heading Level 2 A Man on the Moon. Somewhere in the Sea of Tranquility, the little depression in which Buzz Aldrin stood on the evening of July 20, 1969, is still there, one of billions of pits and craters and pock marks on the moon's ancient surface, but it may not be the astronaut's most indelible mark. Graphic DCS 687263887.jpg.
Hey, it said graphic, and then it gave me a long description, and it looks like a document name or a file name. It's not understandable at all.
Graphic dots. Heading Level 2 Michael Jordan. It may be the most famous silhouette ever photographed. Shooting Michael Jordan for Life magazine. In 1984, Jacobus Rentmeester captured the basketball star mid-dunk in a position that became known for Nike's Air Jordan Jumpman logo. Graphic dots.
I guess it's not the one that describes Michael Jordan. Graphic dots. Okay, my screen reader said graphic, so I know that this is an image, but I can't understand the purpose of it.
The purpose of these images is not presented to Joachim. If the image has no alt attribute, the screen reader only detects the image as a graphic, and the risk is that the screen reader presents the file name to the user instead. All image elements must have an alt attribute according to the HTML standard. Images that have a purpose should have a text alternative describing the content of the image. If the alt attribute is empty, the screen reader will ignore the image and interpret the image as decorative. If the image is only decorative, for example showing a design element such as a dotted line, it should not be described to the user and should have an empty alt attribute. Please note that best practice is to separate design and content and to place these kinds of images in the CSS.
Nazywam się Ewa Biur I pochodzę z Polski. My name is Eva Biur and I am from Poland. I have worked as a web author in an organization for visually impaired youth, and I have also worked for a public sector agency before I started focusing on accessibility. As I have disabled colleagues, I know how important accessibility is. But still, when I have to publish many images in a short period of time, it happens that I forget about the alternative text. especially when the authoring tool is kind of hiding the text field where I should fill it in. I don't really understand why it is still possible to publish a meaningful image without an alternative text description. According to me, the authoring tools should not allow that.
The feature provides built-in support for adding text alternatives, alt text, for images. When the web author publishes an image in the authoring tool, it is mandatory to either provide a text alternative or to mark the image as decorative. If the web author does not provide a text alternative or mark the image as decorative, the feature presents a warning. The result is that the purpose of the image is described in text, allowing assistive technology to convert it into audio or braille. If the image is marked as decorative, the image is ignored by assistive technology. Now, let's see how these images are handled by assistive technology.
Heading Level 1 Photos that Changed the World. Heading Level 2 A Man on the Moon.
The man on the moon, it sounds like before.
Somewhere in the Sea of Tranquility, the little depression in which Buzz Aldrin stood on the evening of July 20, 1969, is still there, one of billions of pits and craters and pock marks on the moon's ancient surface. But it may not be the astronaut's most indelible mark. Graphic: the first photograph of a man on the moon, Buzz Aldrin in a spacesuit with moon surface in the background.
Yes! Now the purpose of the image is clear. Now I understand it. Let's try and see if I can find another image.
Heading Level 2 Michael Jordan. It may be the most famous silhouette ever photographed. Shooting Michael Jordan for Life magazine. In 1984, Jacobus Co-Rentmeester captured the basketball star mid-dunk in a position that became known for Nike's Air Jordan Jumpman logo. Graphic: Michael Jordan for soaring through the air for a dunk. Legs split like a ballet dancer's and left arm stretched to the stars.
Ah, it worked again. Good.
When the images are created correctly, there are alt attributes for the images. The purposes of the images are described. Images that are purely decorative have empty alt attributes, and assistive technology will ignore those images. And by setting the role attribute to the value presentation, the images are removed from the page content structure.
An image without an alternative text results in that I get limited access or no access to part of the information. But on the other hand, if an image has got an alternative text, I feel included and I can feel informed and know the purpose of the images.